Working around government agencies and data protection, we have frameworks that are in place today, and we should also probably have tighter laws around data encryption where it becomes de facto as a standard, and also around border security. So things like multi-factor authentication should be standard. It shouldn't be an afterthought. It shouldn't be something that we later think about. For the government to boost the security industry in the UK when it comes to cybersecurity is working with seed companies, so providing grants and loans to enable people to start their own cybersecurity companies, so that we start to see that innovation within a UK space, within a sovereign sort of way. Due to our work at Defended Solutions, we find ourselves working with a number of organisations with highly sensitive data. That's why our engineers tend to be security cleared and DV cleared. So cybersecurity, we see it on the headlines all the time at the moment. There's lots and lots of things going on. We've seen in this country alone a rise in cyber attacks, and a lot of that's related to what's going on in the world at the moment. There's a lot of conflict in the world. There's lots of nation states who are targeting one another to take information, get access to data. With cybercrime, it's always on the move. What we need to do is we need to continually monitor what is happening, what trends we're seeing across the world, where these attacks are happening. And it's really important for organisations when they feel like they've been hacked or they know they've been hacked and something's happened to be reporting it and providing evidence, because we need that information in order to respond to it. If we can start to see trends, we can then start to deal with them early and we can be aware. But we need to share information as well. So we need bodies of organisations, and we have this today through the National Cyber and Security Centre, the US equivalent, NIST, of that information sharing between countries where they're seeing these trends that then we can relay and we can bring to other organisations within our country so they're aware, and then they can distill that out to their user communities, their IT teams, and the people who are operating within those cloud environments. We also need to look at what potentially is going to happen in the future, so that horizon scanning side of it. And a piece around that is probably around quantum computing. So when we look at quantum computing, it's still in its kind of infancy and early days, but the way that we secure things within the cloud today is through keys and encryption of those keys. So RSA is a very popular key used today, 256-bit encryption. It can't be penetrated. So that would be using something what they call a brute force attack. And a brute force attack is I just put every different version of that key that could ever exist, and I do it sequentially until I find the right key. That could take forever. Quantum computing in the future, it doesn't today and it hasn't done it yet, but it could bring that power to be able to brute force attack to the point that it could decrypt some of those keys and it could allow that data to be then transparent. So when we move to the cloud as an organisation and we've made that choice and that strategy, we're changing our risk landscape and the exposure becomes greater. And again, this comes back to training staff to ensure that the staff understand the risk that is out there and they can see and detect things themselves through education. So examples of phishing attacks where you would get an email from somebody that looks very close to the email address that you use internally, but there might be a slight spelling difference in it, and that may be coming from your chief financial officer asking you to pay an account. So it's things like that. So rather than giving money over to a bad actor, your staff are at the point where they know that there's proper processes in place. You wouldn't just get an email asking to pay an account with an account number. There's a right process to go through and do that and being able to spot that. There is a balance between innovation and security, and giving people within the organisation, once you're using cloud platforms, the ability to stand up their own environments very much is what you're trying to drive to as a strategy, because you want to push your staff forward, you want to upskill your staff, you want them to innovate, and the benefit for them career-wise and the benefit from you as an organisation. However, we have to be aware that by building environments within the cloud, we have the ability to do things like open up web servers, say for example, to the public, or open up rules that allow people to access databases externally. So what we need to do as organisations is we need to be able to still provide those environments, yet provide safety nets, the guide rails around those environments, so we're controlling that boundary still. And we can do that through the use of what's called patterns or blueprints. So if we create patterns or blueprints, they can be stamps of those environments with the right rigor already put into those patterns, and we use automation to drive the delivery of those patterns onto the platforms. And then through that automation, we know exactly what our risk landscape then looks like. And depending on the activities, then we have policies within the organization to say, if you're doing a piece of development work, you may be testing a bit of software, it may not be patched, there may be code that's not finished and not been tested and QA'd, therefore you're not going to get any access. We're going to ring fence you in that environment, but you can still access that PaaS or SaaS product that is part of that development activity.